What up my dudes, welcome to another Worth It review where we tackle the gaming industry's newest releases to answer one very important question. My time and money, is it worth it? If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, offer your firstborn to the Illuminati, whatever it takes to spread the good word of weird across the internet. Every game we review starts with a 10 out of 10 and we deduct points for bad bullshit or lazy developing until we arrive at a conclusional score. Additionally, we offer 2 accolades to really drive home whether or not a game is worth it. The much coveted Golden Wid, a certificate of excellence and issued only to the creme de la creme of titles we review, and the dreaded Unworthy Turd, a true mark of shame and given only to the worst the industry has to offer. So without any further ado, I'll stop yapping and begin the review. BioWare, a name that's been close to my heart since way back in 1998 when they defined the CRPG genre with the greatest RPG of all time, Baldur's Gate 2. Yeah, I said it. Fight me. For over 2 decades now, BioWare have delivered only the highest standard of role-playing games with such titles as Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights, the greatest Star Wars game ever made, Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age Origins, and the Mass Effect trilogy. Oh, alright, there was a fuck-up called Mass Effect Andromeda. You happy now, Dirt? I'm sad.
Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
Sadly, in the autumn of 2007, BioWare was diagnosed with a bad case of EA, and the prognosis wasn't good. The cancer had begun to spread and eventually infecting the brain, leaving the once masterful spinners of deep character progression and lore dying a senile amnesiac with a hard-on for roadmaps and microtransactions. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what corporate rape looks like.
What the hell do you think you're doing just standing around and talking? If you want to work in this firm, then wake up and get real. Now, tidy up the t-shirts, stuff the jeans, and put them in color coordinated piles. Take this as your final warning!
So in 2012, just shortly after the founders of BioWare left the company, production began on a new IP known only as Project Dylan.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Which would later be unveiled at E3 2017 as Anthem, an open-world shooter-looter RPG which boasted interactive environments, AT-AT-like striders walking around, epic unique guns with varying elemental effects, and an unbelievably organic story hub that looked like it would set a new precedent for the genre. Not to mention the fact that you could play as frickin' Iron Man. Anthem was set to take on the likes of Borderlands, Division, Warframe, and Destiny, with a strong hand to play and an ace up its sleeve. This was a BioWare game. That meant depth, substance, and maybe, just maybe, we would finally get a loot shooter that had the depth to stay relevant for the full promised 10-year plan EA had put forward for it. So what did we get? Well, I woke up one morning to see this. Angry Joe, ACG, Skill Up, Jim Sterling, and a whole host of other content creators I trust were giving this game pure unbridled hatred in their scores. I believed this was down to it being an EA game and the hate for EA was real. The BioWare fanboy in me was furious. I would take up the sword against these naysayers, face these giants of YouTube and tell the truth to the people. I was not going to follow the trend. But then, after a few hours of gameplay, I came to a realization. They were right. And my sword was merely a big floppy dildo my inner fanboy had been riding in anticipation of this release. So guys, here is my reluctant analysis of EA's Anthem. First up, gameplay. Anthem is an online multiplayer action role-playing game and loading screen simulator developed by BioWare and published by Electronic Arts. Set on the planet of Bastion, players assume the role of a Freelancer, heroic adventurers who wear powerful exosuits to defend humanity from the threats beyond the city walls. The game's title refers to the Anthem of Creation, a powerful and mysterious force responsible for most of the extraordinary technology, phenomena, and threats in the world. In the main narrative, the player's Freelancer is tasked with stopping a villain named the Monitor from seizing control of the Anthem. At present, there are 4 javelins available that essentially serve as your class. You've got the Interceptor, Ranger, Colossus and Storm, each with its own strengths, weaknesses and unique gear. The Interceptor, a fast ninja-like melee class utilising poisons, acid, lightning and good old kicks to the face. Also comes with fantastic crowd control abilities and can even become invincible for a short time period during its ultimate, making it great for picking up your teammates while dishing out huge melee damage. Highly recommended if you play Warframe. The Ranger. Iron Man. This is actually Iron Man, dudes. Great all-rounder with all sorts of rockets, lasers and grenades at his disposal. Did I mention rockets? The Ranger's ultimate fires a stream of rockets that in my opinion are the most satisfying to use in the entire game. The Colossus. This is your tank class armed with a massive plate shield the size of a bloody door. You can use it to squash people against walls and all sorts of shit. Flamethrowers, miniguns and railguns, and its ultimate is a massive mortar fire which basically destroys everything in front of you, making the Colossus the elemental combo king. And finally, the Storm.
I summon the full power of the storm!
This is Anthem's answer to a mage class, and is able to hover around the battlefield, calling down elemental rage like some kind of wizard fucking artillery cannon. Killing everything that moves and providing some much needed crowd control. The Storm's ultimate delivers massive elemental damage, devastating anything it hits. Being a loot shooter, you can equip your javelin with a multitude of gear you'll find out in Bastion. Each javelin has 3 unique class slots that will hold 2 attacking and 1 support ability, as well as being able to equip items that give passive buffs, extra damage, more shields, more ammo, etc. As well as having 2 firearms. Gear comes in 6 rarities. You have common, uncommon, rare, epic, masterwork and legendary. But here's the thing, the loot is really shit. The guns all look the same, they fire the same, they have passives on them that aren't even related to the item they're on. Masterwork gear feels the same as epic, which feels the same as rare, etc. and so on. Now I realise that E3 shows off early builds of games that are subject to change, but in the demo we saw elemental shotguns and unique masterworks that was just straight up not even in the game. On top of all this, there are a lot of stats involved in putting your build together. And guess what? No stats sheet. In a game that requires you to use builds based on fucking numbers, having no character sheet is absolutely shocking.
Disappointed!
When playing Anthem, gameplay is split up into 3 sections. The story hub, flying around and killing stuff in what EA has tried to peddle as an open world, and looking at load screens.
It's out of my hands and all I can do is wait. It's the not knowing that has put me in this state. The minutes feel like hours, the tension is too great. I've done my part, so now it's in the hands of fate. Waiting for my AIDS test to come back. I shouldn't have fucked that prostitute without a prophylactic. Waiting for my AIDS test to come back. Regret is dripping from me like my semen down her crack, and now I wait.
So, if you launch a game, you will get a loading screen of you suiting up, followed by a load. Oh, but that's not it. If you go into caves, load. If you fall behind your team, load. And when you finish the mission, load. Then you get mission summary, followed by, guess what? Fucking load.
Waiting for my AIDS test to come back. Eating assholes shouldn't be an aphrodisiac. Waiting for my AIDS test to come back.
So yeah, there can be between 3 and 8 loading screens per mission. You can only take 1 contract at a time, which means if you're running daily contracts, you're looking at like 50 to 60 load screens for an hour. It's insane. They're so bad that Derp had a hissy fit and he won't even play the game anymore.
Oh fucking hell, this takes the piss. I've been sat here for fucking ages with this stupid matchmaking screen. Ugh. Oh, for fuck's sake, another loading screen. I just want to start the game. I just want to fucking play it. Wait. Oh, now it's throwing me back to the main fucking menu. Fuck this game. Why should I have to play this game? It doesn't even want me to play it. It's fucking shit. Fuck this. Ah, fuck.
When you actually manage to get out into the world, flying around in your Javelin is great fun, and if I'm honest, it does a lot of the heavy lifting for the game. I found combat also to be great. Priming and detonating enemies when you're in a squad who actually knows what they're doing is a ton of fun. I mained the Interceptor, because Warframe. Dirk went with the Colossus to scratch his heavy-duty Ed 209-esque itch.
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
And as a team we worked well together. Core gameplay is divided into story missions, contracts, free play, quick play, and strongholds. While some of them are fun, the story missions are generally no different from doing contracts, and the campaign is only a few hours long. And to be honest, although it has its moments of showing promise, the campaign for me was flat, and not up to scratch with something you would expect from BioWare. Contracts are basically your side missions. You do a couple of tasks, usually like fetch quests and whatnot, return home and cash in for experience. Or if you get lucky, maybe a little bit of the gold coins that you can use in the microtransaction store. Free play is kind of like running around a map in Destiny with random events spawning, giving you a chance to get some decent loot, or just to explore the world. Not that there's really anything of substance to find. Unless you like reading codex entries, that is. That's right, BioWare took the low road and decided they didn't need to bother with storytelling and just put a Bible's worth of lore in the codex. Quick play was supposed to be a chance to join other freelancers and help them with their campaigns and other assignments, but every single time I joined one, it was glitched or bugged and you couldn't complete the mission. So for now, this mode is completely broken and should be given a wide berth. And finally, Strongholds, Anthem's answer to dungeons. I actually found these a ton of fun, where you crawl your way through wave after wave of enemy and finally face off against a giant boss for some sweet loot. The issue here is that there is only 3 of them and the loot tables are all the same, meaning that you can grind the easiest and shortest one, level up, get the best loot, giving you 0 incentive to ever touch the longer, more challenging versions. This is Dungeons 101 basic bullshit, guys. You have some rare, unique drops in each dungeon and people will grind for them. World of Warcraft knew this 16 years ago. After you reach level cap of 30, you unlock additional difficulties with higher loot drop rates, and maybe you need to get masterworks and legendaries. But this means you will be playing the strongholds over and over again with no real variation, and with the exception of the legendary bounties, which I think you get 1 a day, that's all you have in the way of endgame, with no raid due until May. So at the time of this review, endgame basically consists of running the Tyrant Mine stronghold over and over again to grind loot. Additionally, I found it wasn't even worth doing it on any difficulty over Grandmaster 1, as the loot drops seem to be exactly the same. I should probably add that there is a 90-day roadmap that BioWare have announced, with the bulk of it being patches or events for free play. And quite frankly, I don't think it's enough to keep people interested more than a few weeks tops. Since Anthem was announced, BioWare has been trying to peddle the idea of our world, my story. This means that whilst out in Bastion you are sharing your experience with a squad, but when you're in Tarsus it's supposed to be a chance to invest time in the story. But for the love of God, I can't figure out why, in a third-person shooter-looter RPG, it forces first-person perspective on you. It lets you create a character that you can't even see. As you wander around, citizens seem to want meaningless chatter with you, and you need to put up with this to gain faction XP. And it wasn't long before I found myself mashing the skip dialogue button faster than a Mortal Kombat Test Your Might minigame, leaving the characters sounding like Scatman John.
Yeah.
Tarsus, or as me and Dirk came to call it, the Citadel of Boredom, lacks any kind of fun. You travel slowly, pick up a few contracts that you can only launch one at a time, and occasionally one of the more interesting characters may actually speak to you. I quite enjoyed Haluk, as he reminded me of a certain demigod.
What can I say except you're welcome?
But most of the characters are forgettable and the whole Tarsus area could be removed and the game would be better for it. In Tarsus there are multiple shops with different names that sell the exact same shit, literally the same components, and hold a link to the microtransaction store. This can also be reached from the pause menu and about 5 or 6 different locations. Yes, the store. So the microtransactions are only cosmetic, but it is the only way to get new armor pieces to customize your javelin. At present there are only 2 looks available with each javelin, with others being on rotation every 3 days. Here's the thing though, although you can get them with the in-game currency, a new look is going to set you back 60,000 coins, which unless you're unemployed will take about a week to grind out. Given that, when you see an armor you want, that's going to be gone in 3 days, it's a bit of a piss take, and it's obviously designed to sell you some bullshit tokens. In a game where personalization is a focus, I found the amount of customization options pretty appalling. Considering in a PR livestream they showed there being like 12 sets per javelin. Additionally, you can buy fabrics and vinyls, but the pricing is hiked so high just to hide their disturbing lack of content. Okay, so we've been over the fact that Anthem's retail release was massively downgraded from the E3 presentation, but it goes without saying that the graphics are still superb, and whilst the world isn't very organic, it is pretty. As you're flying around the world, diving into lakes and boosting over mountain ranges, you get a real sense of the world that BioWare wanted to craft, but it is evident that this title was not ready to be released, and it's a real shame. Character models, facial animations, lighting effects are all beautifully rendered, and I genuinely love the flight animations. Performance for myself and Dirt was strong, but I can't really say it was flawless, as he uses an RTX 2080 and I use a GTX 1080 Ti, and we both saw some large frame dips. Also, I have heard a lot of grumbling about performance on various social media outlets. Something I found quite bizarre was that sometimes enemies would just disappear. I don't mean despawn, I mean like bamf, gone. And it would really break my immersion. But discarding a few little blips, the graphics in Anthem are pretty solid. It seems to be a common trend with EA titles that no matter how bad the game is, graphics and sound are spectacular. Anthem is no exception. The audio is great, the guns sound meaty as fuck, the sound of explosions and jets firing are all very much on point, and I really like the musical score as well. Something that's really irked me is the fact that the voice acting talent are fantastic. In fact, I would say some of the best I've heard outside of cinematic masterpieces like The Last of Us. But even they couldn't hold my interest when it came to the boring narrative and piecemeal story arcs. Another problem that I had is that there's a strange bug that occurs on the PC which causes all the audio in the game to die, and sometimes it requires multiple PC restarts to fix. No doubt it will be patched out, but it got on my tits more than a few times. When Mass Effect Andromeda flopped, fans of BioWare, including myself, put it on Anthem, as it was said to have been BioWare's B team. So we were expecting big things from Anthem. The mentality that Mass Effect died for this game is something that I can't shake, and the end result has been found wanting. Anthem is a hot mess with a boring story, cliché antagonist, and all the constant load screens, crashes, broken loot, lack of customization and endgame content leaves a real sour taste in my mouth. This game reminds me of a bad girlfriend. Yeah, it's pretty and fun in small doses, but all its good qualities are superficial, and all it really wants is my money. But for some reason, I keep going back to it. The thing is, I like it. Quite a lot actually, and it has potential to grow. But in its current state, I can't really recommend it. So the weird final score for Anthem is 5 out of 10. And this hurts me. As a BioWare fan, I never thought I would have to do this. We've only ever given this out once before, and funnily enough, that was an EA title as well. The Unworthy Turd. In its current state, this game is not worth your time or money. It's broken, pure and simple. I hope BioWare can survive this failure, as I feel like in a year or so, this game could actually become worthy of an 8 or a 9 out of 10 score. But knowing EA, Anthem could very well be the end for BioWare.
to come back. I never should have blown that tranny in my Cadillac.